Hola, buenos días a todos y a todas. Hello, good afternoon to everyone. Yo soy David y estoy aquí con mi colega y mi amigo querido David. Um, este programa es un episodio del Facebook Live Spanish Ask Me Anything. Yo creo que este episodio es el... ¿cómo? No sé si este es el episodio 31 o 32 porque hemos tenido tantos. I don't know if this is the 31st or 32nd episode because we've had so many. And es difícil continuar a contar. It's hard to continue to keep counting, but that is a good sign because it means that we have such an engaged audience that loves to come back and see our faces every week. If you are new, welcome. If you are returning, so glad to see you again. We are always so happy to present a topic to you every week, Tuesdays at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, as I'm sure you know. Yo estoy muy bien. I'm doing very well. Estoy en Tennessee, en la casa en que yo crecí. I'm in the house that I grew up in, my parents' house. Usually I broadcast desde la oficina de mi madre, from the office of my mother, but today a little bit different. David, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo estás? How are you doing today?
Hola David, hola a todas y a todos. Bienvenidas y bienvenidos a este espacio. Welcome everyone to this space. Este es un espacio donde hablamos español y todos los martes estoy muy contento de poder compartir este tiempo con ustedes. Me gusta pasar tiempo aquí y me gusta hablar español. It's always a pleasure for me to be here. It doesn't matter if it's late here, it's 7 p.m. in Berlin.
Wow.
Es las 7 de la noche aquí en Berlín. Está muy oscuro, hace frío, it's cold, hace frío. Y es un buen plan estar aquí con ustedes. It's a lovely plan to be here with you. Estoy muy bien. Estoy esperando el fin de este año. Creo que todos queremos lo mismo. I think everyone wants the same. Este año ha sido muy difícil. Here we are reviewing something that we learned about last week. Este año ha sido difícil. This year has been difficult. But it's great to see many people from Houston, from Dallas, from Los Angeles, California, San Francisco, from England too. I think it's 1 hour earlier there in England. But yeah, good afternoon, good morning. There are people still, I think, in the West Coast where it is still AM. So welcome everyone. And yeah, today it's our 32nd episode, nuestro episodio 32. It's been a long road. We wanted this initiative to start only for the first 3 weeks. I think that was the initial plan, and here we are enjoying this time. Wow, son las 10 de la mañana. I don't know where Phyllis you can.
She's in San Diego, so
In San Diego.
very far west from you, David.
Oh yeah, and I think it's early in Arizona as well. But yeah, so maybe we can get started with a quick recap of what we saw last week. What do you think, David?
That sounds great to me.
Yeah. Cool. So let's just get started. Last week we had a very useful topic. It was pretérito perfecto in Spanish, which is similar to the present perfect in English. So it's basically past tense that we use in Spanish to talk about actions that took place in the past and have like a connection to the present. So we saw how to conjugate the auxiliary verb haber. That's a verb that we need in order to use the pretérito perfecto in Spanish. Something similar to have in English. I have been a teacher for many years. I have lived in Germany. I have been living in Germany for many years. Something like that. So we learn how to conjugate the verb haber, and we learn also how to form the past participle in Spanish for regular verbs ending in ar, and for regular verbs ending in er and ir. So there are here some people still joining. Welcome, bienvenidos. And you haven't missed anything yet, so we're about to start here with the review of what you learned last week. Okay, so for that, we share our screen. So because we prepared this for today. So, are we ready? Pretérito perfecto. That's the name in Spanish. We don't need to learn anything about names. Let's just focus on the sentences that we have for today. So we have this first question. The verb in brackets, trabajar, that means to work, is the one that we need here to have this question in the pretérito perfecto. So basically what we want to say here in Spanish is, have you worked much this week? And yeah, we'd like you to share your options, your answers with us, just to see what you think is missing here. So while you are sharing your answers with us, let's have a look at the question, because something interesting is happening here. As, which is the form for tu, is in the, this is the first part of the question. So there is no need to invert the order, to swap the order of words in Spanish. Remember that we don't have this very strict rule as we have it in English. It is just enough to change the way we say this. So I can say, has trabajado mucho esta semana. This would be an statement. You have worked a lot this week. Or I can also make this as a question, and I just said the answer. I see many correct answers. David, maybe you can highlight one of them.
Yes, let's display Phyllis's answer, one of the many correct ones, trabajado. And this is correct because we know from last week that to form what we'll call the participle, which is a fancy name for the second part of this phrase, haber, something, 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 to have done something, in this case, to have worked, we take the verb trabajar, to work, we take off the AR ending, and we add ado. So this is for all AR verbs. Hablar becomes hablado, cantar, to sing, becomes cantado, and trabajar, to work, becomes trabajado. So we get, has trabajado, have you worked, mucho esta semana, much this week.
That's correct. So, has trabajado mucho esta semana? That's the right answer. But I see here something interesting. I see this answer by Janice. Trabajaste. This is one of the past tenses that we haven't learned yet. This is called, this is equivalent to the past simple in English, which basically means, did you work much this week? This would be the literal translation when we use this form. So when we ask this question with trabajaste, this would be, trabajaste mucho esta semana? I just said the meaning of this question, trabajaste mucho esta semana? Did you work a lot this week? And as you can see, there is difference here when we use has trabajado mucho esta semana and when we use trabajaste mucho esta semana, which is when we use this form, trabajaste, the form on the screen, we are referring to an action that's completed. So there is no connection to the present. Maybe we are talking on a Sunday about a very tough week that we had at work, and I would ask, ¿trabajaste esta semana? Because I'm implying here that you are not working anymore. So that's the difference. That's something that we will learn more about in one of our next sessions. We are starting now with this pretérito perfecto, and we'll get also more insights on the other past tenses. So this one would be correct without the as in the beginning. So just replacing has trabajado with trabajaste, and then we would have a kind of a different question. Yeah. Cool.
So Rita had asked, so the answer is in past tense when we're talking about has trabajado, and Linda says a continuous past tense. That's a good way to think about it when we're talking about pretérito perfecto, which is the example you see on the screen, what we presented last week. That is a continuous past tense, an action that started in the past, as David was saying, and continues into the future. So have you worked much this week? The week is still ongoing. The work is still ongoing. So you started working a lot in the past, and you continue into the present working a lot in the present, and potentially into the future. So it's continual. But and the Rita also asked, what does trabajaste mean? And as David explained, this would be a more simple way of expressing the past, and it doesn't continue into the future. It happened in the past. It's over. We have space from it. Did you work much last week? Or did you work much this week? You could say, sí, yo trabajé mucho. Yes, I worked. But it would be different from saying, yes, I have worked much this week. It's which is a continual past, as Linda was explaining in her comment, versus the very simple past, I did work, or did you work much last week? It's kind of package deal. It's finished. It's done. So that's the main difference between these two tenses.
Yeah, that's correct, David. So keep in mind that we have many past tenses in Spanish. I think there are more past tenses in Spanish than there are in English. So it's going to be kind of a challenge. It's a nice one to talk about actions that took place in the past. But we are doing this step by step. We are introducing this first form, this first pretérito perfecto, this first past tense, and we are going to also review all others step by step, one by one. Yeah. So I think we can move on to the next one, which is this one is a little bit more complicated because we need also the auxiliary verb, the right form of haber. So what would be the answer here?
So 2 words, we see 2 spaces here. And we know, based on what we have been talking about, that the first space will be some form of this auxiliary verb haber in one of its 6 conjugations. And then the second word, similar to trabajado, will be some sort of participle form of the verb tener, to have. So we're trying to express I haven't had, and we see the word no is already there, so that negates. We don't have to worry about adding that. So all we need to put in the space is the phrase meaning have had, and the rest of the sentence is taken care of for us. So I see a lot of correct answers coming in already. This is really, really good. And let's go ahead and display the one from Meg. She says, he tenido, which is correct. So haber takes the form a when it's conjugated in the yo form, the I form, first person singular. So we say, yo no he, I have not. And then it's time to put in the participle form of the main verb, which is tener. So to say I have not had, yo no he tenido. And we know that it's tenido because we take a verb like tener, which usually is pretty irregular, but in this case, it actually isn't. It's a totally regular verb when it comes to forming this past participle. We take off the ending er, and for verbs that end in er and ir, we add the same ending, which is ido. So we say, yo no he tenido la oportunidad de visitarte en Nueva York. I have not had the opportunity to visit you in New York.
Mhm. Perfect. I think that we can have a next question if, like the next sentence, if you don't have more questions. It's important here to mention that you can also drop the subject yo in the beginning, and we can just simply say no he tenido la oportunidad de visitarte en Nueva York. Again, because of verb conjugation, because every time when we conjugate a verb, most of the cases we know whom we are talking about. Yeah? So it's important to keep this in mind, because sometimes you might be wondering, okay, but who is doing what? Well, this information is explained or shown in the verb form when conjugating a verb. So let's have a look at this sentence. It's actually a question. Chicos, ¿han sus deberes? Which translates into children. Have you done your course? This one is a special form. Keep this in mind. So here we have the verb hacer. And hacer is hacer has an irregular form when it comes to the past participle. And we'll see this also used in the next part, in the next topic that we prepared for you for today. We already see some forms, some answers here, which are correct. Yeah. So let's pick this answer. So Jerry says, chicos, ¿han hecho sus deberes? Which is correct. So hacer becomes hecho when we are using hacer in the pretérito perfecto tense. So it's in the past. Have you done? ¿Han hecho sus deberes? And here we are using the subject ustedes. We are inferring ustedes from here. So in Spain, they would ask this question a little bit like in a different way. They would say, chicos, ¿habéis hecho vuestros deberes? But this is the question that we tend to ask in Latin America and also in the United States.
David, ¿cómo traducirías? How would you translate la palabra deberes? Porque yo puse chores, porque yo aprendí unas diferentes traducciones. I learned a couple different translations, but I think perhaps it is more likely that it means housework or maybe schoolwork, even like homework. What would you say? Homework.
Yeah, okay. Homework. I wouldn't use the word deberes. I think this is the European Spanish variety. I would use a different word, tarea, but we understand deberes, tarea. I'm not sure about the word that is used in Mexico, but we can ask Rita later. So, yeah, chicos, ¿han hecho sus deberes? Have you done your homework, your chores? That's correct. This is great. Keep in mind when using the pretérito perfecto, we just need this auxiliary verb with the right form, depending the subject, and we will need a second word, a second verb, which comes mostly in its participle form, which has sometimes a little change, trabajar, trabajado, vivir, vivido, comer, comido. And sometimes those participles are a little bit more irregular. Hacer, hecho, poner, puesto, and so on. So it's always important here to remember that those verbs that are irregular are not that many. So that's the good news. But this very small group of verbs that are irregular are always used most of the time. So they are very, very useful. So we'll have a look at them also in the future when learning some other past tenses. And I think that's it for this topic, pretérito perfecto. Yes, Rita, hacer is turning into hecho. So it's basically like saying in English, you do something, have you done something? So we change from do to done. And the same happens in Spanish as well. So this is a coincidence. Not everything what changes in English changes also in Spanish and the other way around. So this is just as a reference to understand this topic also in Spanish. Mm-hmm.
Wonderful. Okay, so we spent almost half an hour on review, which is great. This is one of my favorite topics. I think it's a great way to start learning about the past in Spanish. But this is not the only topic that we've prepared for today. So tenemos una invitada muy especial. We have a special guest today, otra vez, again. Ustedes la han conocido. You've met her before, and she is back today to help present a cultural topic to you with David. So everyone, let's welcome back Rita to the presentation.
Hola a todos. Hola a todos y a todas. Hola David. Hola David.
Hola Rita, bienvenida.
Gracias.
Uh-huh. Rita, tenemos un tema para hoy. We have a topic for today. El tema es Navidad en países donde se habla español. Especialmente en México, porque tú eres de México, y en Colombia, porque conozco la tradición de Navidad en Colombia, lógicamente. So now we are gonna share here this space to talk about Christmas in Mexico and Colombia, and also in most of the Spanish-speaking countries, because it's nice to know what they do actually.
Exactly, and I think all of us are already in a holiday mood. We cannot wait to celebrate Christmas with our families, if possible, or however we're celebrating. And we want to share with you some distinctive and special aspects of how we do it in Mexico and in Colombia.
Yeah. So, David, you are free to follow us in the background.
Yo voy a desaparecer. I'm going to disappear para que ustedes puedan tener más espacio so that you have more space on the screen. Pero yo estaré escuchando y después puedo regresar a la pantalla. Afterward, I can come back to the screen to say goodbye to everyone. But voy a dejar que ustedes presenten ahora.
Muy
bien.
David. So,
Adiós.
Adiós, David. So, and of course, we have here a presentation. Tenemos una presentación. Because it's easier to present this with images and with words. Una imagen vale más que 1000 palabras. An image is, how do we say this in English?
I'm not sure if it would be an image is worth 1,000 words.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. So, yeah, this is Navidad en español, Christmas in Spanish, and we'll be talking about traditions and food, because food is important when we celebrate Christmas. So, let's start with this tradition that's very popular in Mexico.
Yes, we're gonna talk about, or I'm going to talk about Las Posadas. I don't know if anyone knows about it. As you can see there, Posadas are they are del 16 al 24 de diciembre, from the 16th to the 24th of December. So the first Posada starts actually tomorrow, and the last one is on the 24th. But what is a Posada? Posada, the word Posada means lodging or accommodation, and it refers to the pilgrimage or the journey that Mary and Joseph went through when Jesus was about to be born. And in this Posada, the word Posada is used to both refer to the celebration and to a series of verses that people sing. So people sing Posada, and this is a very special song where they ask for lodging. Le pido posada, I ask you for lodging. And they carry a nativity scene. So if you know, nativity scene is this scene where you see Joseph, Mary, and they're carrying, well, Mary is pregnant, and Mary is riding a donkey usually. So people are singing on the street. You can see there, that's very typical. That is a picture taken in San Miguel de Allende. It's a very popular city among Americans. A lot of American tourists go there because it's a beautiful city and it's very picturesque. So I took the picture from there. You can also see people carrying piñatas, and that's also a very, very important element because the first two homes they ask for posada will always say no. And the last home says yes. So people go inside, they hang the piñata, and then they break the piñata. And this piñata is in the shape of a star, and it's always filled with fruit. And you can see it's like the fruit of the season. So we have mandarinas, which I think are either tangerines or mandarins in English, I'm not sure. Limas, which are green. I'm not sure if in English you call them limes, because they're not sour like lemons. They are much milder. We also have jicamas. That's a fruit native to Mexico. It's it kind of looks like a radish, but it's completely white, also on the outside. Naranjas, which are oranges, and manzanas, apples. It's a very, very nice tradition, and it's a very Mexican tradition. Actually, it originated in Mexico.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's interesting. Healthy piñata with fruit. Really nice. This is also something new to me when it comes to listening to Rita's description, because this is what we have in Colombia. Just as a reference, Latin America and Spain are very religious countries, mainly Catholic. So we have many religious traditions, and this is one of them. So as we saw, we have this representation of Joseph and Mary following this long way until baby Jesus is born. And we also have something similar in Colombia, and this representation also takes place in many countries in Latin America and in Spain. But when it comes to Colombia, Christmas season starts on December the 7th, el 7 de diciembre. Pay attention to that because months are not used with article in Spanish. It is just 7th of December. And this is called Dia de Velitas. Velitas meaning little candle. So it's just a day where everyone takes some little candles and we put them in the night, like in the evening, outside. It might be cold, windy in Bogota, but in other cities where weather is really nice, where it can also be, I don't know, like a summer day in the northern hemisphere. because we see that and there is no snow, no seasons, no winter in Colombia. We take these velitas, these little candles, and we have this very lovely picture with all the candles on bringing some light to the evening when it's already dark. So everyone, all families, houses have velitas in front of their houses, and it's actually a nice tradition. And this is for us the start of the Christmas season. We don't have posadas or what Rita just talked about, but we have something which is also very traditional during those days, also from December the 16th until December the 24th, del 16 al 24 de diciembre, which is called Novena de Aguinaldos. So it's basically all families, friends, people gathering together to pray during 9 days, usually in the evenings. This is again a religious ceremony, and it represents these 9 days leading to Christmas. So the last day, which is on December the 24th, people are together either in church or at home. We have a special book for this novena, and it only takes 20 minutes to go through all the like the paragraphs. And then the most important, no, not the most important thing, one of the most important elements during this novena is food and having time together with friends or family. So this happens at home. We can also invite some other friends, other relatives come by as well to pray this novena, and it's a tradition that's very well known in Colombia and also in Ecuador and Venezuela, I guess. And Nochebuena is the celebration of Christmas, which is basically singing, dancing, eating, drinking, and celebrating that it's a special occasion.
Yeah, it's exactly the same in Mexico.
Mm-hmm. And I guess Navidad, Christmas, is also a similar thing. With the advantage of again having a good day with good weather, so no snow, no rain. Most of the times it's mostly sun, so it's really nice. It's something that I'm right now kind of missing while being here in dark, cold Berlin during lockdown. So let's see. But this is what we do in Colombia when celebrating Christmas.
And David, you mentioned a very important part of any celebration, but especially Christmas, the food. So we're going to share, or I'm going to start sharing with you some special treats that we have during Christmas. I chose 2 sweet ones and 2 salty ones. Let's say main dishes, because I mean it's a lot of food, and you know we Mexicans would love our food. And it's also interesting because buñuelos in Mexico they're different from buñuelos in Colombia. So I thought it would be nice to include this so that you can see both kinds of buñuelos. Los buñuelos son delgados, as you can see from the picture. They look like tostadas. I don't know if you know tostadas, but tostadas are fried tortillas. So they're crispy. So it's a masa frita servidos con un jarabe hecho con piloncillo. So they're thin deep fried dough served with a syrup made with piloncillo. And piloncillo is unrefined whole cane sugar. That's next to the buñuelos, you can see a pot where the piloncillo is. Once you serve the buñuelo, then you pour the piloncillo on it. Buñuelos also have sugar and cinnamon sprinkled on top, and they're very tasty. And yeah, definitely not diet food.
These
Yes.
buñuelos are salty, right, Rita?
No,
Or-
they're sweet.
Okay. Okay. Interesting.
And then another thing that's very typical, it's ponche de frutas. And then we usually have these huge clay pots, ollas de barro. And then you make this fruit punch with tamarindo. I don't know if you know tamarind. It's a brown pod-like fruit that you cook, and you just use the fillings already cooked, and you remove the seeds because they have very big seeds. Then you add jamaica, which is hibiscus flower. It's red. I'm sure you're familiar with it because agua de Jamaica is an agua fresca that's very popular in Mexican restaurants and in Mexico, of course. Then you add canela, cinnamon, tejocote, and I include a picture of the tejocote because that's actually a fruit native to Mexico, and not everybody knows tejocotes. They look like small apples. They're like closer to the apple family. Well, they're closer to the apple family. That's why I think in German they're called little apples or something. Then you add manzana, apple, naranja, orange, guayaba, guava, ciruela pasa, prune, and caña de azúcar, which is what you can see there in the mug, which is of course made of clay. That's sugar cane. You cook all of the fruits in one big pot with water, so it's served hot. It's a hot beverage because in Mexico it doesn't get very cold, but we love our fruit punch. Well, hot. It's a very, very tasty drink. And it's also healthy because, I mean, it has lots of fruits inside. And they're also cooking in the water, so it's really very tasty. So those were my sweets, but of course we also have main dishes. And then one of the most typical foods that we eat in Christmas is tamales. So los tamales, as you can see them there, están hechos de masa de maíz, and they are, están rellenos de carne. They're filled with meat, or they can also be filled with queso. Pueden estar rellenos de queso, cheese, frutas, because these tamales can be sweet or salty, and vegetables. So this is a very, food that's very varied. And as you can see there, they are están envueltos en hojas de maíz. They are steamed in corn husks. That's how you wrap them in these corn husks, and you put them in a special pot so that they can be steamed, and they have to stay there for a long time.
For hours.
Yeah, David will later show the Colombian version of tamales. And finally, another very typical dish is romeritos. And romeritos is an herb. I hope that you can see from the picture that what you see as the green stuff you see, those are herbs. And they're called romeritos. That's the name of the herb in Spanish. Los romeritos son servidos en mole poblano. They're served in mole poblano, which is the brown sauce. I'm pretty sure you're very familiar with mole. It's a spicy sauce made with cacao, with chili, and with many, many different spices. It's very flavorful. They are also served with papa cocida, nopales, y tortas de camarón. So romeritos are also served with boiled potatoes, nopales, and patties of dried shrimp. It's a mix of flavors, a mix of different ingredients, but it's very, very tasty. And of course, as Mexicans, we eat those either in tacos or in tortas. So a torta is, a bolillo or a bread with filling. Very, very tasty.
Yeah, this sounds delicious even to me. I mean, I'm not familiar with Mexican cuisine. I mean, directly, and I would like to taste them. I wanted to say here something important, which is a bit connected to what we saw in the beginning of this session, because we were learning about a past tense and a participle, and this past participle, like hecho, trabajado, servido. We see this used in recipes a lot, for example, because this is also used for the passive voice, like when we say, and this is served, and this is made of. So this is going to be very useful for us when learning the passive voice. And when describing recipes, los romeritos son servidos. Yeah? And I think we saw something about tamales. This is mine.
Yes.
Están hechos. They are made of corn dough. So yeah, keep this in mind because these forms are very, very, very useful. Yeah. So thank you, Rita, for talking about food in Mexico during Christmas. Now it's my turn. There are many, like some familiar words that we saw, some pictures with a different description. So in Colombia, we have something that's very traditional to Christmas, and that's natilla and buñuelos. And let's start with natilla. This is like a kind of flan, let's say it's sweet, and se hace con, and here we see the se, impersonal se. So you prepare this with leche, milk, panela, which is blocks of brown sugar. This is something very similar to what we saw in Mexico that is used also with the buñuelos. So it's
So
kind
for
of
us Mexicans, panela is piloncillo.
piloncillo. Yeah. So it is called panela in Colombia. Blocks of brown sugar. And this is melted, of course, with canela, cinnamon sticks. We can also say palos de canela or palitos de canela, but we just say canela. And harina de maíz, corn starch or flour. So it's something sweet, and the good thing is that they are accompanied by buñuelos. So we eat this natilla, this sweet flan made with leche, panela, canela, harina de maíz, and we eat it with buñuelos. And our buñuelos are a bit different from the Mexican buñuelos. These buñuelos are masa de queso costeño. So it's like a dough made of cold white cheese. And we mix this with flour. And we form these, like we build these balls, little balls, and we fry them. So you can imagine that this is not healthy at all. But this is salty. So we eat these buñuelos that are salty with natilla, that's sweet.
Yeah, that's a very interesting combination.
Yeah, they are always eaten together, and they belong to Christmas. You don't eat natilla, you don't eat buñuelos in a different season in Colombia. Well, buñuelos are very well known during the year, but natilla and buñuelos are something that are more Christmassy in Colombia. And we also have tamales. They are, and I'm using here some colors to make a direct reference from Spanish to English. So it's masa de maíz, corn dough, cocinada al vapor, steam. And hojas de plátano. So we use these banana leaves to wrap them. And inside we can find meat and vegetables, but never sweet stuff. Because tamales can't be sweet in Colombia, which is not a rule in Mexico. So we never see tamales with fruit in Colombia. But just a little difference. Yeah, it's just a little difference between Colombian and Mexican tamales. Yeah.
Well, actually, we also have this kind of tamales in another part of Mexico, and you're right. This kind of tamales would never have fruit.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So that's it. This is just these were some slides that we wanted to present here to you with some information about Christmas traditions and food in Mexico and Colombia. These traditions, this food also, everything varies according to the region. Right now, it's very hot in Argentina, in Chile, in the south of Brazil, Paraguay. So they must be enjoying their summer right now. But when it comes to Christmas, I think it's a time to be with family, to be together, to celebrate that this year is almost coming to an end, and this year has been a bit tough for everyone.
It has been a roller coaster.
It has been a roller coaster. But yes, we hope that you all stay healthy. It's very important. That's the most important thing right
Please
now.
do take care of yourselves.
Mm-hmm. We invite here David again. So David, get ready. Oh, try that. And yeah, this is just for us to share some cultural backgrounds with you.
And so that we're all prepared for the yummy, yummy food we will enjoy in the following weeks.
Yeah, all of that food looked so delicious. Maybe I'll have to make some myself.
Mm-hmm. Rita, how do you say roller coaster in Spanish?
Montaña rusa.
Okay, so it's the same in Colombia as well. Montaña rusa. It's like Russian mountain.
Yeah, I honestly don't know why.
Mm-hmm.
Ferrocarril is a train, a very old word for train. We would just say tren, by the way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you to Rita, David, gracias a Rita y a David por la presentación fantástica, for the fantastic presentation sobre la Navidad, about Christmas. I think it is the end of this episode, so about time to say goodbye, unless we have questions that are outstanding, or Rita, David, you have anything else to add? But it seems like we are about ready to wrap up for the day.
We just want to thank our audience. Thank you for being here. Muchas gracias por estar aquí. Well, I think I can say that the three of us greatly enjoy being here with you and sharing all of these topics.
So, yes.
And very important question in the comments.
So Dana asks, oh, that was Jack's comment, excuse me. Is there no class next couple of weeks? So yes, we have to share some sad news, which is that for the next couple of weeks, we will be taking a break. Vamos a tomar una pausa antes de la Navidad y durante el mes de enero. So before Christmas, next week, the week after in December, and then for the first couple of weeks of January, at the least, we'll be taking a break as we sort of reorganize and reconfigure how these sessions will look. We have a lot of discussions to have internally with the Babbel team about how to move forward. We know that you all love these sessions and we love to present them as well. So they will continue in some form or format, but the structure might look a little bit different. The schedule might change. We might try to include more special guests or rotate who presents them. But we certainly don't want to stop them, even if they do change a little bit. So while we sort of take a couple weeks to gather ourselves, we won't be presenting on Tuesdays anymore. But that doesn't mean that we won't be back, like I said. So stay tuned. Check this Facebook page. Check emails. If you found out about these sessions from emails from Babbel, you'll find out more information in those same emails as well. But we'll definitely keep you updated with the course of these sessions and how they will progress in the future. We have so much more to cover. We have a lot of grammar left that we want to share with you, a lot of cultural topics as well, vocabulary, all of that good stuff. So stay tuned. But we just want to say thank you so much for sticking with us throughout this entire, not the entire year, but it feels like it's been almost a year at this point, since I believe April or May of quarantine. We've had so much fun. We really appreciate your sticking with us and asking such great questions. So all of that to say, thank you again. And we are so excited to come back in the future, and stay tuned for more.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's been always a great time for us. It doesn't matter, again, if it's late here. We are enjoying this very, very much. And as David said, we are going to take this break for you as well, to focus on Christmas and New Year's Eve, and to think just of 2021. And our goal is to provide you with a very good experience when it comes to learning Spanish. So stay tuned. I think we will share with everyone on Facebook once we are ready to restart these sessions.
We will definitely keep in touch and keep you posted. Don't worry about that.
So we'll
don't worry, we'll be back.
We'll be back. Yes.
Well, thank you. Yeah, David, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Thank you very much. And David?
I would say I'm reading everyone's comments right now and almost tearing up. I'm so touched that you all have found something meaningful from these, and that's what we wanted to do first and foremost. So, of course, we will return at some point. But thank you again for being here with us the entire time, and we're so glad to have given some structure, at least, to what could otherwise be a bleak quarantine in a bleak year as well. So before we sign off, I will say keep in touch with us on social media at Babel USA, here on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, on Quora as well, our space Everything Language. We'll share the links to those on Babel Magazine, great resources for language learning. I say this every week, but it never changes. We always have so much good content to share. And David and Rita and I are always available if you want to comment on these videos or send us a message. We'd love to keep in touch until we more formally keep in touch in the future with more videos and presentations. So thank you again, David and Rita, if you have anything else to say before we sign off.
Well, just muchas gracias and Feliz Navidad y Feliz Año Nuevo.
Igualmente, mucha felicidad para el año próximo y nos vemos en enero.
Nos vemos en enero.
Adiós.
Adiós.